Hey guys, Caleb here with DSLR Video Shooter, and today we're taking a look at an awesome little tool that will allow me to do the following. I have one camera over there. It's the only camera filming me right now, but I can do this, and I can do this, or this, or this. I can do that, and all of this was done with this unit. None of that was done in post-production, which is pretty fantastic. I'll stop moving that around all weird. So yeah, let's jump in. So the thing or tool that I use to do what you saw in the intro is this guy right here. This is a Convergent Design recorder. It's actually the one that I talked about in a previous video, the Apollo. But what I'm talking about today is a feature that's on it, and it's on some of their other recorders, more specifically the 7Q Plus. So you can get one of those two recorders and you'll get this feature, which is called Titan. Now, the way Titan works is it takes a signal over SDI or HDMI, like you see here, from a single camera and creates three different camera angles or faux camera angles, if you will. So currently I am using the G85. It is running over HDMI into the recorder. And what this recorder is doing is taking the 4K signal and creating three HD angles within it. So it's not making a really terrible quality, crop, if you will. So it's taking the full res HD extracts, hence Titan Extract, to make this work. So in a second, we'll take a look at how it specifically works and what you can do with it, including camera moves, which is awesome, or fake camera pans, if you will. But first, I wanted to cover a couple different use cases. So if you're a YouTuber like me, it's great because you can have three different camera angles, set them up quickly, animate them by dragging across the screen if you need to, and when you sit down to edit, you can just bang out the video edit and you don't have to worry about animating anything or moving frames around in post-production. Another great use would be events. If you're doing some kind of musical concert, an interview, a church event of some type, you could have a nice wide shot and then have two closer shots available to you. And of course, all of this can be sent out to the internet. So if you're doing a live stream or live streaming an interview or some news, something, whatever, anything you can imagine, you could set up a two-person interview. They each have their own camera and then a wider shot. Send the output over SDI up to YouTube or Twitch or anything, and you have your own little production set up right here on the recorder, and it's recording it. It's not just a video switcher, but it's actually recording all the camera angles and your live switch. So now let's sit down and take a look at how to use it and then how we can pull the files into our computer. All right, let's take a look at the Titan Extract on the Apollo. It also works on other recorders that we'll talk about a little bit later. Hey guys, this is post-production Caleb. I'm editing this video and I just realized, like an idiot, that I left my info turned on for the HDMI capture here. So I apologize for all the gunk on the edges of the screen. And yeah, enough of that. Let's get back to work. So to set this thing up, what you're going to want to do is on these top buttons here, you're going to choose the third one, and it's right after your camera information. You'll select the Panasonic or whatever setup it says here. You will want to choose under camera, the camera that you'll be using or the brand, and then we're going to select multi-stream. There we have Titan 4K/UHD extract, and that's how you can turn this whole thing on. The next thing you want to choose is under record streams. I'm going to select that. And we have three different ways that the recorder will be recording these different angles, or fake angles, if you will. The first one is ABC. It'll just record three different files, and it'll give us those three different 1080p options that we looked at earlier. There's also ABC plus live switch, which will have a fourth file, which will be exactly what we see when we switch things up. Finally, there is quad split, which will show you a quad split of those three, just like you see here, except there won't be a waveform. So for whatever reason you want to have just a file that shows all three angles, you can totally do that. So I'm going to go back in there and switch it to ABC plus live switch. So this is what I'll be using, and this way I can show you what the actual live switches look like. So I'm back here on the quad view. There's several ways to view these different camera angles, or I shouldn't say camera angles because it's one single angle, but you know what I'm talking about. We can see it like this, where we have a quad view, and I can pull up a waveform in this blank corner here, giving us a bird's eye view of whatever's going on. And then we can go ahead and tap to switch cameras. Yellow is preview, so if I tap, it's not going to actually cut or switch to that. It'll just preview it for me, and if I tap again, it'll turn red, and that's the live camera. So you have to tap twice to switch cameras. You can change that to a single tap if you would prefer. So that's the first view, is quad. We can individually pull up the camera. So A is our wider shot. We'll talk about this in a second because it's pretty special. B is our second shot, and C is our third shot. Now if we go back to A, we have some really cool things we can do here. First and foremost, we can just move these boxes. So I can put one way up there, I can put one down here, I can move them over like that, and now we have some new angles here. You can also switch from here, so you'll notice that C is in preview mode. If I tap it again, it'll switch to program, or live if you will, and same with B. You tap the little box in the corner, and there you go. Now you switch. You can also, while it's recording, drag this thing around, and it has a really awesome smoothing feature. So what I'm going to do is switch back to A, and this box right down here will get us back to our wider shot. I'm going to hit record here, so I can actually show this to you. So what I'm going to do is switch to B, so now we're on that closer shot, and I'm just going to start dragging it around. If I do a whip, pan, or move, you'll notice it's pretty doggone smooth. So I'll move it again. I'll try to move it real slow so we can see what that looks like. Really, really nice feature. And of course we can switch over to C and back to A. Really, really awesome. Now we can also lock this, so if you get everything set up just so, you can tap the lock button. That way you're not going to accidentally mess anything up. So you could do this in post-production, but to animate a move like this would be a real pain. So it's really cool that we can do this on the unit. And finally, of course, if you're a YouTuber, this could be a really handy way to shoot a video. If you have someone else or yourself that you can switch back and forth, or just record the angles. You don't necessarily have to be switching everything and constantly monitoring this and moving stuff around. But the point is, if you want to get a video out quickly, you could have all three of these set up just so when you sit down to edit, you can pull up the files and start editing away, which is really awesome. So now what I'm going to do is jump over to the computer in the office. We'll look at how to import this and what we can do from there. All right, so I've connected the SSD from the recorder, and what we need to do is convert the files from the SSD to a format that'll work in our editor. This is really simple. We're not transcoding here. We're just taking the format that the recorder has to use and converting it to our files. Essentially just moves it and gets it ready for our edit. Really, really fast and simple. So what you need to do is select the actual drive. So I'm going to double click on Apollo, and here's our clips folder, and I recorded 4 instances on the recorder here. So I'm just going to select them all and I'll hit open. Then we'll select this other button here for our destination. You'll go ahead and choose the folder that you want to send them to, and you'll hit transfer. It will go ahead and move things over, and what it's going to be doing is taking those files that you really can't play straight off of the SSD and convert them to all the different camera angles, quad split, live switch, and all that good stuff. So it goes pretty quick. And then once it finishes, in the folder that you sent it to or had everything transferred to, you'll find your clips. So every time you hit record and stop the recording, it'll create one of these clips. You go in here, boom, camera A, B, C, and quad split live switch. That third one there. It also gives you XMLs and EDLs, which is pretty awesome. And as you can see here, we've got our wide, B, C, and the quad split live switch. And that's pretty much it. You can import these into your editor and go to town. So that is the Titan Extract feature. Really awesome stuff. There are 2 recorders that have this feature available. The first one is this one right here, the Apollo. I've talked about it in the past. The other option, and it's a lot more affordable, is to get the Convergent Design 7Q Plus. That would be a good option as well if you are more interested in this feature and less of the multicam stuff. So if you need to turn a single camera into multiple different angles, this is probably your best bet. And of course, I didn't even go over things like it records ProRes HQ and a ton of other things. Now, if you want to learn more about this recorder, or this feature rather, there's a great video that Convergent Design has done going over in depth all the different functions and features of Titan, as well as several other things with their recorders. So I'll have that linked to you in the description. So that is going to do it for this review / tutorial. If you want to watch more videos, we've got them here at DSLR Video Shooter, coming out multiple times a week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.